You're not where you want to be in your business, not because of some strategy or tactic. You're not quite at your goal because you're missing an energy piece. Now, let me explain what I mean by that, because after coaching 300 plus business owners, oftentimes what they're trying to do is apply some process or new strategy or new framework, but what they're actually missing is the next identity unlock, right? The next identity unlock. You're actually missing an energetic upgrade. And if you fail to actually get this right, what you end up happening is you feel stressed, exhausted, and you go through the cycle of burnout over and over again. You're not hitting your revenue goals, you're constantly working the long nights and weekends, and most importantly, you feel like you're not actually at your full potential as an entrepreneur. So I was coaching one of my sales teams yesterday, and one of the funniest things was I was talking to one of my guys. Shout out to my boy Garrett if you're watching this, okay? And Garrett, about a week ago, we had our one-on-one, and he was extremely off baseline. Like, he was not actually pacing for his sales goal. He was actually under halfway, right, for what he was supposed to close out for that cohort. And when I was talking with him, man, I was like telling him, what your issue is not a piece in the sales call that you're missing discovery, right? We can work on that. You could work on the pitch and presentation. You can work on objection handling. We'll work on all the tactics. But the problem is you don't have the conviction and believe that you deserve that goal, right? There's a missing piece here where I could tell you all the tactics and the strategies how to hit the goal, but if your identity and your mindset and your energy, most importantly, is not aligned with that new goal, the new frequency, you end up just fumbling the bag. And so I had a very serious one-on-one with him actually this time last week, and it was really interesting what happened, because in a span of 24 to a little bit over 48 hours, because there were some deals that trickled over the weekend, he actually ended up closing 7 deals and hitting his goal. So he closed almost double the amount of deals in a 24 to 48 hour period than he did in that whole almost, I believe at that point, it was almost 2 week, or almost a week and a half, 2 week period. So what changed? What changed? Was it that he mastered discovery overnight, or that he got better in the presentation? No. What changed is he decided and committed to this new level of his identity, that he was like, I am going to be a top closer. I'm going to be a savage salesperson. And once he committed to that, everything around his environment, his circumstances, his prospects, the way he talked, the way he had tonality and posturing on his calls, all that changed literally overnight. But it wasn't that he magically worked even harder. To be honest, he actually worked less hard. He stopped forcing it and started to flow into his new energy, into his new frequency, into his new identity, right? And this is one of the biggest problems that I found with a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, is that they're looking at the surface, right? If we imagine it as like this is a surface, but they're not actually looking underground. They're not looking beneath the iceberg of what the actual true root cause issue is, which is you don't believe that you deserve that goal. So your identity conspires against you, you self-sabotage, and you actually don't work on raising your frequency to match that new goal, right? Now, if this is the first time you've ever watched some of my stuff, you know that business is both a game of psychology and math. If this is something you've never heard, business is both a game of psychology and math. But the truth is, underneath all that, underneath true psychology, is actually energy. Because before we can align the mind, we actually need to align the spirit, right? We are actually spiritual beings first. Our energy is actually what dictates our mindset. It what dictates how we move our bodies, right? Without energy, we literally can't do anything. It's literally dead. It's death. Like, zero energy is death, right? So I think what's really important for us is we start to, as business owners, you specifically, if you're facing issues with feeling stuck in the same repeated pattern for 3, 6, 12 months, I invite you to stop looking outside for a tactic or strategy, because all those are important. You can invest in the coach or a course and learn the tactics, but if you don't actually get your internal world matched right, aligned first, congruent with this new level up, then your paradigm, your self-image, your subconscious mind is going to figure out a way to destroy you. Your competitors don't even have to defeat you. You ended up being your worst competitor, right? And so it took me the longest time to figure this out, because, you know, I grew up in a very poor background. I was born in a third world country. right? End up coming to America. I live here in New York City, hence the snow and why it's so cold. Pursuing the American dream. And before I could actually truly command the income level that I wanted in my business, to command the revenues, to command the millions and dollars of sales closed, right? I've closed over 5.4 million in high ticket sales over the past few years. What had to happen, the precedent before every single one of my new goals being achieved was what? An identity upgrade. It was an energetic raising of my frequency, okay? And if you're kind of new to this spiritual stuff, I know sometimes it can come across as woo-woo, but the truth is everything that we do comes from an internal source of energy, right? If you're a man of science, as some may say, just understand that there's laws of energy in this world, there's laws of energy in this universe, right? And the more that we can learn how to actually get an increase internally first of energy, then externally everything else will flow. For example, I was taking on this new sales team this past 45 days. And anytime I go into a new sales team, yes, I have a process. I go in there and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm gonna help you guys understand discovery better. I'm gonna help you guys get your actual like pre-call rituals dialed down. I'm gonna help you guys, work on follow-up, all these things. But before I do that, I have this like pyramid that I show them. Before that, I have this pyramid. It goes energy, mindset, fundamental strategy, tactics, then advanced stuff. Okay, and the bottom of that, what I call the sales pyramid, is always energy. Because if you don't get the energy right, nothing ever works. When you come from a place of low energy, low vibration, low frequency on sales calls, or any business endeavor, let's say even marketing, let's say you're doing copywriting, right? You're making some content, you're shooting YouTube videos like this. If I shot this at very low energy, right? I mean, right now it's like 7 a.m. I woke up earlier this morning. If I shot this with my, eye boogers in my eyes and no hydration and I didn't get my workout before, this would be a really crappy YouTube video, okay? So everything that I do before I go into it, I need to get my energy aligned. The problem is, you might be working, going through your business, trying to make progress, and you're operating at a 20% out of 100% energetic level. So anything that you do is only 1/5 of your true potential. So if you actually want to go out there and actually reach your true potential as an entrepreneur, you need to get that battery at 100%. Right? The way that I invite you to think about it is energy very much is just like a battery, right? Imagine you're a Tesla, and with any electric car or a Tesla, you got to charge that bad boy up. You got to put it in the charging station, you got to make sure it's supplied, and then you could, go 100 miles per hour on the highway or whatever we want to do. But if I'm taking the Tesla out of the driveway and it's at 10%, I'm not getting very far, right? And that's what most people do. That's what you might be possibly doing. I don't know, right? But what I do know is most of us are not reaching our potential because it's an energetic block. We're operating at 50%. We're hopping on the client meeting at like 40% in because we didn't get that great sleep. We didn't get our nutrition in. We didn't do what I call energy rituals and meditate and go into prayer and go into, time to decompress after the workday to actually truly rejuvenate and recover, right? One of the things I always say is we gotta treat ourselves like an athlete. If you think about athletes, right? What do? They perform, they practice, then they recover, right? So they will go just as hard at recovery and rejuvenation as they do in their performance and practice. Because if Stephen Curry has a playoff game coming up and he's out partying in the club and he's not rejuvenating, he's not recovering prior to the practice, prior to the game, guess what? He's gonna play like crap. It's gonna be absolutely dog shit. Like, he's literally gonna show up on the court and, maybe pump out like 10 points. But if I want to defeat my enemies, you know what I do? If I want to make sure that the enemy team is going to lose that game, is I'm gonna make sure that they don't get the recovery in. I'm gonna make sure to self-sabotage them in any way, right? So what is the reverse? If we want to actually win the game, if we want to win the game that is business, we need to make sure that we recover just as hard. We rejuvenate just as hard. We get our energy raised just as hard. Because believe it or not, we actually have the ability to raise the capacity of how much energy we inject into the world and how much energy we can actually have, right? That's why you see these people like Alex Hormozy, they're pumping out like 12, 14-hour days, is because they've literally trained energy. They've literally increased their capacity for how much energy that they can actually withhold and execute out into the world. Because the level of results, the level of you getting your actual goal comes down to the fact of how much energy can you inject into your environment. When I go into a sales team, what I'm actually doing is energetically injecting new, higher frequency energy into that sales team to motivate them, to get them off their ass, to get them to actually understand and raise their awareness of what's possible for them, to upgrade their identity. And when that actual energy as a team comes together and we raise our energy as a team, that's where the whole team hits that 150,000, 200,000, 250,000, 500,000 a month. That's when you start hitting your actual goals. So the same applies to you, my friend. Same applies to you. If you're a business owner, you are an energy worker, believe it or not. Whether you want to actually understand what that means, well, I'll have another video on that. But your job is to take your energy. People hire you because you are, in essence, a higher awareness or a higher frequency than them. You know more stuff than them, AKA. And they pay you to actually inject that higher frequency, that higher awareness into their business so they can raise their awareness and hit their goals. That's what we do. That's what we do. We are energy workers. So if we don't take care of our energy, we're gonna give half-ass energy to our clients, right? And we don't wanna give half-ass anything, right? So our job is inherently not to do, oh, I need to get better at all this stuff. That stuff will come. Strategy and tactics, they have an important part to the game, but the most important part of the game is getting your energy right, getting your energy aligned, and making sure you're injecting a whole new wave of energy for your clients so you can make a better impact, make more money for everyone, and most importantly, everyone wins in the process. So with that being said, y'all, this is Larry Antaporta. If you like this type of content, just please give a comment. I want to hear from you. Does it resonate? And subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Sayonara. Sensei out.